I have a lot to say, but I don't know what to share exactly. One of the things I was thinking about was Susan, because she is very independent and she doesn't need as many things as some other formerly incarcerated people that I know and have met and have friends with. Is that while she was in, I recognized her intellect and her ability to write. And at the time, Sinclair was promoting a blog that was written every day by a different person, whether it be a student, a staff, or faculty. And I approached her and said, would you write a blog? Couldn't be anything better to represent Sinclair, in my opinion, than somebody who was behind the fence. And she said, really, me? Oh, yeah, sure. And it gave me an opportunity to her that she's valuable. And I think that's really all we as people really ever want, is to be recognized as a human, to be recognized as somebody who's valuable and worthy. And I try to do that in all the places that I go, people that I meet. But I heard James say, well, why do you do this to Mary? And those of you who have God on your side know that you've been gifted to do something, maybe several somethings by God. Yeah. And you can't help but do it. You just can hardly stop doing whatever it is that God has gifted you to do. If it's sing, if it's play an instrument, if it's use your gift of administration, if it's teach, whatever it is. And this is one of those things that God has gifted me to do. And I cannot help but be friends with these women. They are from all different walks of life. Over there, we got a couple of Vegas. Meet Vegas. She's so unique. And Tony, it's just one of those things that God gives you a passion for, to kind of be his hands and feet in this way.
It's fucking psychic. What? Pro Virgin Kerns and Overland Parker West, bro.
Brent has volunteered his life to be a guide and go inside. And at the time it was called Life Builders Spirit, she called it something else. But he's a guy for the Welcome Home for Life Network. And I'm not gonna let Jeff tell you all about that, he's the CEO, but for him to sacrifice his life to go inside to meet Mr. Drake, who's a really good friend of mine, and you're gonna start crying when we stay up here too long. But it was just amazing how Mr. Drake has done. The more time you do, the harder it is to transition back, especially with your age. And Brent, I just appreciate it. I appreciate you choosing Wendell choosing you. So,
all right, so I guess Joe first.
Either way, how you guys want to do it?
All right, well, I got the thing in my hand. I might as well start.
And so why?
Okay, so why did I do this? I've been friends with Jeff Daniels for quite a long time. We have worked together at Ohio State for many years. And then he retired, and then we kept in contact. And he had been talking to me for many years, actually, about his work through Kairos and different programs. And he would always be encouraging me to consider being involved. And I always begged off. I felt like I had too many things going on and whatnot. And then 3 years ago, he sat down and had coffee. He goes, I got a program for you. And it was the Life Builders program, where I Wendell. And simply stated, I know Jeff well. We've known him for over 20 years. And the life-giving aspects that I've seen him gain through his work intrigued me very much. And he told me straight up, he goes, this will change your life. You have the opportunity to be part of changing somebody else's life, but it will change your life. And that was the most true statement I've ever heard about. And quite simply, this has been, for the last 3 years, have been such a tremendous blessing, working with guys on the inside, and then being able to see them on the outside, and be part of their relationship network. We talk about mentors and mentees, or inside outside, or I think we use travelers and guys, but our friendship, I can't even put a label on it. This guy is such a blessing to my soul, and our friendship has been just such an encouraging and motivating experience. And not just him, though all the different guys on the inside that we've met and that have been on the outside. I never imagined an experience like this even existed. And so I strongly encourage you, if you're considering something like this, to take a step and engage. All right.
I really like what Brent had to say at the very end about being interested in helping another human being to step forward and engage yourself. I'm probably a very good reason why I should. I spent perhaps the last 50 years behind the walls. I have been on some form of criminal supervision since 1966. Terrible person. You must have did something with her. I did do something to her. But it's because of that terrible act that I did, which makes me mad, that I don't protect. I am as I am today because God really is a miracle worker.
Amen.
I'm living proof of it. I killed a guy on permission of a robbery in 1972. I didn't get out of prison until 2003. At the time, I'm not gonna go into all the specifics of that right now because I think I got a much greater message. And that's when my mother passed through natural causes. That's probably the only moment in my life that I had any kind of concept of the finality of death. That's the kind of odd. Some people think like, how are you not gonna have some type of concept of the finality of it? But I did. Not only that, my victim, the guy that I killed, Thomas Keith Jenkins, I never will forget this man. I never will forget him. Because it's because of him that I am who I am. When I think of that, I took that young man's life and the misery and the pain and the void that his loved ones had to feel, like I felt when my mother passed naturally. That's when I started getting the concept of the finality. He helped me see that. Because of that, man, y'all ain't got nothing to worry about out of me. I'm a man of peace. Everywhere I go, I say it and do it because that's who I am. These tears are tears of blessings and love for y'all. You, everybody. I come to bring the joy. I come to bring the peace.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I'm here now, ain't I?
Yes, sir.
You think I'm gonna quit coming? You think I'm gonna quit leaving? No. Before my brother Bruce tell me, thank you, Wendell, back to Washington, because I have a tendency at some time going on. And that's me, when they tell me that, thank you, Wendell, back to Washington, those kind of shit. So I don't want to get booked that, but it's a pleasure being here. I thank y'all sincerely, everybody in here, everybody that's on Zoom. I thank y'all. Oh, incidentally, I'm working up at Ohio State. Oh, I know what it is. I ain't that's so. The old Ohio State College of Barber Style, a beautiful place. Beautiful people just like y'all. They gave me a chance to hire me.
Yes.
And in spite of my crimes, Miss Carey did, Miss Darlene did. They did that. If you was to ask them, I'm gonna that disappointed. I'm not perfect, never will be, never will quit trying to be.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep on keeping it pushing. Brother Leon, this man know me inside. He was in my unit. The next speaker, perhaps, Gary Trudell, we was all in the same unit. It's living proof, brothers, sisters. People that I work with, they'll tell you it's true. I heard the young lady said you had a couple raises. I've had 3. Probably 3.
All right.
We're gonna keep on doing good too. Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all.
So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Gary Trudell.
Gary.
And I've been knowing Mr. Drake since I was 17 years old. He was my little option trainer as one of the professional institution in 1981. I was just a young fella. I kind of learned things when I was 16 years old, but I was man, I never thought I broke into a home at 9:30 at night. I was taking the language there. And during his mission, Wendell Drake, I thought, like, I'm gonna make this shit. This is obviously what happened. I thought somebody was sneaking up on me, and I didn't. And when I should have to. I spent my whole life in prison because of this. Fast forward, so now the correctional institution in 2013, they opened up a reintegration unit, and they let the guys who had long-term offenders have the first time here. So then Wendell Drake was the first 2 in there. Mr. Drake went on to be the director and the coordinator of the program, the immigration unit. I went through the classes, I was a student, I went through all the programs there. I went to the board, and I received another 5 years off. I was disappointed because the lot before that was only 3 years. Here I am, I'm doing good, I'm doing all the programs there, and I get into the 5 years. But that's how it goes. Okay, I left the renovation unit for somebody else to have my full tech program. I went back out to the foundation, and I went back to work. I was heavily involved with how H.O.P.E Ministry. Came up for parole again, and I had an open hearing February 14th, 2019, and I was granted parole on the stipulations that I go to the integration unit again. No problem. 9 months ago, I went to the integration unit where Mr. Drake was still in there 5 years later as the director. And I went through all the programs, some of the ones that I went through before. I got out and remember first, but right before I got out, there was a program, 6 months before I got out. There was a program that was on board called Methodist. It's a program, I guess it was designed by a group of fellows that were from my life. And a few months prior to this, I was asking somebody about resources when I get out, who I go to get shelter or food if I can get. And somebody gave me this gentleman's name, Mr. Jeff Daniels. The name I put it behind my TV because I couldn't get a hold of him right away. I had to wait. So, when I was 18, so I signed up for this program. Mr. Daniels and a group of Mr. Daniels and Jeff came in with a group of fellows, and I learned the program was a spiritual guidance program, also designed to show guys how to regulate their money or budget their money. They also teach you the hidden rules of society, which I learned because I was, kind of ignorant to the rules of society, being incarcerated for 39 years, 2 months before. So it was a big help. It was a resource. And then they gave you, also had a big thing about the resources when you get out, the churches and stuff that you can go to. And it was powerfully packed with resources, and the spiritual side of me is what I felt like I needed also. So I was guided and was hooked up with Mr. Daniels as my mentor. He is my guide and has been my guide since he picked me up from Chillicothe when I got out, took me to the halfway house. Okay, I might have got lost in my train of thinking of the things that I was trying to say before it came my turn. Yeah. So when I got out, Mr. Daniels took me to the halfway house. I was kind of, I don't know, a little bit of shock maybe, just from, being in society, and then going into a halfway house. It's kind of like being locked up, but it's not. There's a lot of freedoms. Once they put me in the kitchen to work, and they liked how I work. And next thing you know, I'm getting offers from the staff to go get a job. So I actually worked for the Alps house while I was there, up until the end of the year. And then I got a job at a diaper company through a temp service who has a program there called Hire. Is it called Hire? Yeah, Hire. And they gave me a job in Delaware where they come and shuttle you, pick you up with the bus, take you there, bring you back. Well, once I got out of the halfway house, I didn't have a shuttle. I didn't have a vehicle, so I went to stay with my aunt and uncle. They invited me to stay with them until I gave them money to buy a car. Well, while I was there is when the pandemic jumped off. When that jumped off, it was very, very hard to get a job. And finally, I got a job at Brightview landscaping with my nephew, where we go out and mow grass and all that. And that was an experience in itself, being able to go out and mow people's lawns. It was fun, but I had an issue with skin cancer with son, so I had to leave that job, and I got another job where I currently work at Groveport for South Creek Logistics. Is where they move all those appliances, refrigerators, ranges, they move them back and forth, take them to the stores. That's where I'm currently working at. And I have a couple of reasons to tell them a story about why I think, the work of the Lord is real and it really does exist. Number one, his guidance with me through my life, through my whole life in this. I've been spiritual on and off. I'm not gonna lie, I've been off and on for 40 years, spiritual here, not spiritual here, back and forth, and I really couldn't come to terms with why some of the things in life and some of the things that he lets happen. But I've come to understand it's not, that he lets it happen. Say a kid gets cancer, he dies. St. Jude's Hospital commercials, I couldn't ever watch it in the cross. Okay. So I wonder, and I used to question myself, why does he let this happen? So I had an issue with that. So I wouldn't go to church for a while, So then I got to thinking, I got to talk with people like Mr. Daniels or one of my friends, Mr. Drake. I've been to understand some of the stuff, that happens and why it happens. So when I got out, I was blessed with a lot of resources. I was blessed to even get into that program. And it's helped me along the way. I got my own apartment. And another reason I have to say that I know God's will, and I know his power works, is because this past Wednesday, me and my brother was in a U-Haul truck, and we was traveling 70 westbound. We was traveling westbound on 70, and I was driving a U-Haul truck. When a coach bus slowed down in front of me, I couldn't change lanes because there was cars coming up on the side. So I maintained my lane, proceeded to slow down, and when I got slammed in the back by a truck, that says go to the hospital. And they knocked us out of the middle of the lane. And one of us got killed, everybody got killed, and that's why I think, God was. And despite all that happening, I still am in contact with Mr. Daniels all the time. We do things together. I had problems, I physically contact him. And I just think it's a very good program for when guys get out. And I would like to be a part, of helping guys do things when they get out. And with that, I'm close.
These two guys are really hard to follow. I love these guys. But, you know, I heard somebody say that, you know, you don't see guys in prison loving each other. I gotta tell you, in life, we love each other all the time. We said we call each other brother. We do it on the outside as well as we do it on the inside. It's real. Okay. And I started into this game kind of by accident in 2013, but I have to say, you know, I'm sure that God was in charge. And I was down to H.O.P.E, and I wasn't very grateful for a weekend. And I spent 2 days there. This guy was there, one person I met. And we spent 2 days there and we listened to the guys. They gave us presentations and we talked to them. When I went back home and said to my wife, I said, I've never felt so much love in the room. And I knew at that point that I had to continue. So I worked in the Rising program as long as it was in H.O.P.E. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, it pulled out of H.O.P.E. Then I went into Cairo Seminary, but my home was still down in H.O.P.E. And so I joined Cairo H.O.P.E. and the White Holders program came along, which, by the way, was organized by ODRC. It was an official ODRC program. Gary Croft was the director of it. And while I was in Kairos, Gary recruited me to help start a Life Holders program in H.O.P.E. We put volunteers together and we started that program. It became very apparent that, okay, we have a Life Holders program, and the Life Holders program really prepares guys to get out. Okay? Helps prepare guys to get out. We mentoring them. We call ourselves guides, and the guys who are getting out, we call travelers. Because I have this thing about what a mentor is, and we want to be something different. Mentor. And so we started this program and became a parent after the first year. When guys started getting out, okay, now what do we do? And again, this guy, James Clay, and I were sitting on my back porch one day. He came over for dinner, and we had several guys over, and we started noodling around what we would do, and we came up with we had a program. And then somebody said we had it as a network. So we came up with Welcome Home for Life Network. The Welcome Home for Life Network then became our program for 4 cycles. We had Life Holders, and then 40 guys in this program. And we walk with the guys after they get out. I mean, it's like, you know, you're really good friends forever. You know, as long as these guys are put up. And it's worked great. It really is. You know, we don't just we don't stop. We keep going. And then they communicate with each other, and we have. It's incredible how it works. So about 2 years ago, we started a program called So We Talk. So similar to what James was talking about in the service this morning, we have acts with all sorts of everything for the guys that they live on. It's not just 72 hours. And from that, and so that helps them. And then we continue to walk with them. We help them in every way that we can, you know, as we go forward. So it's just a blessing. And it's a blessing for the guides. I can tell you, we have, as volunteers, some of you who volunteer inside prison and try to build programs inside prisons, you know how challenging, especially in these times with volunteers. We have gone from, originally from 8 volunteers, and now we have 15. We meet every Saturday morning, online, on Zoom. The guys talk to each other. We talk about the travelers who are on the outside and some guys who are on the inside. We have two returning citizens on our board. One of them is Mr. Clay, and the other one is Jeff Keeling. And they give us great advice, and you know, we work together, and it's really a team effort. Remembering is that Susan's one-on-one, but we do it way beyond that, because we meet as a group of guides. We really support each other as guides, and we get to know the guides. You know, like I said, we're a group. And so that's where we are right now. And I've got a little bit of literature up here about the flyers, and you know, we're always looking to expand. We started a program online at CCI. We're calling the 72-hour PAC program right now, and we're hoping to go back to going inside and outside. I am a strong believer in the inside outside concept. That is what works. Okay, we meet people on the inside and then we walk with them on the outside. Yeah. And that is, in my opinion, the only way to do it. And highway and dark, it's the same model. There's no way in the highway to work. So, yeah. We welcome people to join us on the inside and the outside. I'm very hopeful we will start making progress in the class very soon. But it's fantastic.
You've heard all these amazing stories, but each one of those stories, there is a testimony. There's hundreds more like it. My purpose and my goal before I even left prison, and they will tell you, they need to know out there what's going on in here.
Yes.
And no one is saying anything. And there's a lot of good programs where a lot of people are doing good things, but there's not a lot of returning citizens stepping up. So I'm starting to recruit. Sheep beget sheep. There's a lot of good shepherds out here. These are shepherds. These allies are shepherds. You guys are shepherds. But when you walk up to a person and they get out of prison, you say, I've been where you've been. Okay, I trust you. But if you come up with a suit and you've never been inside, there's some leeriness first. So there it takes some time. Time, which we've already done. So now we got to put in some more time just so we can trust you. So we can be vulnerable to you, so we can get the help that we need. So I'm continuing to just ask my brothers and sisters in blue, when you come home and you get restored, let's get back. What I want to do right now, you've heard some stories. If you have some questions, and I'll walk over to you so you can get the microphone so people on Zoom can hear what it was like. Any questions, any comments, show by hands, anybody. I forgot his name right now. Mr. Drake? Yes.
Yes, sir.
You said you did how long there?
I'll give it to you this way here. I did 31 years. Got out for 4.5 years. Violated, went back for 11 straight years. So 31, 11, 4.5 on parole. I'm currently on parole now for the last 2 years.
I just wanted to know, like, how you process that, like, how was your conscience? How did you keep your conscience strong to be where you are right now? Because I did sad.
I'm gonna tell you.
And that was
41, 42 years, that's like a lifetime, a real lifetime, 2 lifetimes for real.
Well, I tell you what, I think, and I appreciate the question, I'm glad you asked me. Because it's just this simple. When I went to the courtroom and got sentenced in 1973, it was May, it was bright and sunny. But then when I knew I had to do at least 20 years before I would even be considered for release. And I tried to figure out 1973 to 93. It seemed like everything turned black. And when it turned black, I said, hey, no, you think I'm going under like that? I guarantee you, I have, talk about a life sentence, I do got life. And I'm getting ready to live it as best I can. That mistake will never, ever happen again. And I grind. But I slipped up. As I said, I did a parole violation. I haven't had it all the way together. I didn't even know who I was. How in the world I had it together? It wasn't until I violated and went to CRC to start my parole violation time. The guy come to visit me. He came to visit me because I hollered at him. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to get there. I even told him. I told God, I don't even know if you or who they say you are. I don't know. But I know I'm tired of hurting my family.
Yes, sir.
I know that. I know that boy shouldn't have lost his life to me like that, because that wasn't what was in my heart. I was in over my head. I panicked. I wasn't a thug. I wasn't a tough dude. Some people even say I was a coward. I got scared and pulled the trigger. I'll let y'all determine that. I know I'm sorry for it. I know I live by that. I know I never do anything wrong like that again at all. And I know what I'm bringing to y'all is the real. I'm bringing healing. I'm bringing peace. I'm bringing joy and love. Hallelujah. That's what I'm bringing.
Thank you, Mr. Judge. I know I did 9, and I was 40. And I had kids, I had 7 kids, but the younger ones, it was like, what made me stay was my family. It was like, I knew I had an outdate. And I knew I had life after that outdate. So right inside, I started planning. After this woman started writing me, because I was like, I don't have nothing to go home to. Lost my wife, lost my kids, lost everything. Starting over, who wants to start over at 50? But God had for my kids and my family. And then God, they got me to that one point, and then God gave me a mission, and that got me the rest of the way. Anybody else? Okay. See, that's why we like the young folks.
This is for the members at Sinclair. I appreciate you because I did time with General Sinclair helped me. Ms. Jern Nora, Cheryl Taylor, they helped me, but for you, what made you, I guess, put her in a position to make the Sinclair bio lose their what was in you to see that, you know, because people that's in jail, we overlook them people, or society overlook them people. So what made you like stick out and be like, I'm gonna choose her instead of somebody that's on the house?
I don't think it was just Susan. And those in the room who know me know that I don't pick on one. And I believe it's God. I know that sounds trite maybe, but I mean, he leads me in there. And I see these women differently than I would if they were on the outside. And I tell my best friend all the time, I'm a judgmental person. Really, I am. And when I walk inside those doors, it's like it's gone. And so I see what God sees. I really do. And I see that Susan is a good writer, and I see that somebody has wit beyond control. I see somebody who knows exactly how to love, how to express it. I see poets in there. I see people who are downright dedicated and loyal to whatever they say they're dedicated and loyal to. It's God.
Some of the most creative stuff while we're waiting on the next question. I see the dude make a lighter for his cigarette. He took out, listen, this dude took the guts out of the dental floss thing. Took 2 batteries, put them in there, cracked open a razor, took the 2 blades, slid them babies together, and it lit up, and he said, I was like, it is amazing, listen, it is amazing when you are back against the wall and you have the minimum, how we learn how to survive and how we stand up. So why can't we be like that when we have everything? We can change the world. We don't have to wait until we're on our backs before we use our creative gifts that God has given us. Miss Mary.
Mine is not a question, so I do apologize.
No problem.
Your story, I love you. You almost tried to make me cry. It's not gonna happen today. But yeah, you have him. I about a blink it would have came out. But I will say this. I heard you say that God finally came to visit you on your second time going in. He's been there the whole time. First time I asked is when he came. Yeah, I have 2 people who have been close to me who have never did any time, never really been in any trouble, but have committed suicide because they felt like life was too much. So for you to go in and do 40, 50, really, if you add them all together, 60 years, including parole, and to still be here to have a testimony to fight and push and help somebody, it couldn't be nothing but God. Just in case I'm not here, that's why I want to say it now, because I might have to leave before we get to the end. I would love to connect with you. I feel that someone really needs to hear your story. I love sharing. And I appreciate that. So I just want to extend the opportunity for you to come on my talk show to be able to express your story so someone else may be healed through something that they are going through. Thank you so much. It was great comments.
So just to get this started, I might have been that guy in the suit 7 years ago. Yeah, I had to learn to trust, right?
They did not trust him. He came in to volunteer and he had his corporate look on and everything like, nah.
You got 45 minutes to not responsible, so nothing. You don't stop the rest areas change, right? But, and that's funny because at one time I was told I must have been the lawyer that did you wrong, not by you. Someone on the parole board who was about to do everybody wrong, or probably a prosecutor. So again, we work towards trust. Took 2 months, always worth it. I'm just really excited about this because 2 things are going through my brain. Just the amount of bravery that's in this room and honesty and the sacrifice that folks have made, our outside brothers, our outside sisters, our returned citizens, but also all these people in this room up at that table who work with those folks. That takes a tremendous amount of courage. There's a lot of stigma on both sides that we deal with every day. I don't know what everybody's history is here. I don't need to know that. You know what it is. But people who feel the need to engage with these folks or some of the other are so welcome right now. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Where we at?
Oh, you know it. So, when this gentleman asked Heidi, why she does it, it was so crazy because when she approached me about the book, I was like,
in the
"Oh,
conference.
we can't tell those stories, no." And she's like, "No, we really can't." And she's like, "We really need to." And
Yeah, but
Heidi related to us on such a level that, made us comfortable with her.
make that
Because
what they say.
honestly, 10 years ago, if you told me I was gonna sit down with a college professor to write a book, I would have said, "Yeah, right, no, we're not doing that." But, Heidi saw us for the people that we are, for the women that we are. She didn't see us as a number. She didn't see us
They
as,
got fun.
she didn't see us as criminals. She didn't see us as our last names. I mean,
But this
she's
will
called me
really
Vegas the entire time she's known me. And, that was where the comfort came in.
They
That's
cry.
where we knew that she was for us. So when she started this, a lot of us were very, very gung-ho about backing her up and about doing this because we knew that our voices needed to be heard. As being returning citizens, people know our story, needed to know what was going on on the inside, and knowing the fears and the struggles that we are coming home to. I was just telling this young lady, Tony here behind me, that, we need more programs for women that are returning citizens because there is not enough help for us. When I came home 6 years ago, I'm originally from Vegas, hence the nickname. I was supposed to go home, and I ended up here in a halfway house, 2 hours away from taking crash on the street, and it was not a soul shining in the world. I had to start literally from the bottom and really work my way through. Not only that, though, I left prison with cancer. I'm still fighting, so I'm in remission. Thank God. God is good.
Right.
Margot, mute your
Starting
phone.
the journey, I remember I said,
I think I'm going to call them up.
what's gonna happen. I don't know who's gonna be there, but he strategically placed so many good people in my life, and Heidi was one of them, and I'm so grateful
Right.
for her.
I ain't saying nothing or nothing.
We're all gonna know about backing her up and helping her because she gave us the voice to be looked at as people, not to be looked at as criminals.
But so when they did it, I changed my phone do something.
For returning citizens, we want to be
My balance is low.
the normal people.
Margot, mute your phone.
Everyone else is. We want to be looked at just like everybody else looks at.
What did you say?
So Heidi really gave us that
Mute
platform.
your
So I know
phone.
why she does this, and that's why I wanted to, highlight
Okay.
that. And James as well. I met him through this journey, and he does awesome work. And just watching everyone grow as we have left that place is so amazing, and it's so awesome. So I thank you guys all for doing what you guys do. It is very important to us. Thank you so much.
Okay, I got a question from personal
Sorry
Zoom.
about
It's
that.
from Teresa Daniels, the wife of that awesome guy back there, Jeff Daniels. She said, for those who are returned citizens, so this can be anybody in the room that's a returning citizen, what do you wish you would have known or been told before your release? For those who work with individuals on the inside, what is the most valuable lesson you have learned? So there's two questions, and you can start with somebody from the panel. For those who are returned citizens, what do you wish you would have known before you return? And someone from the panel that's an ally, one more time, for those who work with individuals on the inside, what is the most valuable lesson you wish you had learned? So who wants to answer first? There you go. What do you wish you would have known before you were released?
I wish I would have known how to function in society.
Right.
I wish I would have known how to, for real, I was monk 15 years ago. I didn't know how to pump gas again. I didn't know, like you said, how to use a debit card again. How do you do daily functions? How do you be alone? I constantly had someone with me for 15 years. Even if I was at my own by myself, got somebody beside me over here. You never went, unfortunately, but yeah, you were. You never had a moment of peace and quiet to yourself. Even in the showers, always someone there with you. You never had a moment. How do you handle being alone and coming out? You know, I just dealt with being alone for the very first time for a couple days by myself, and I was like, I mean, I was really on edge. How do you do that? You know, every little sound you hear, you jump. Phone rings, you jump. Just coming back out, just trying to be you, figure out who you are. Yeah. So that was tough. So,
This would make me jump right here.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Just the jingling of keys, you're like that. So one of the allies, you want to answer this question, of course, since your wife asked it, you might answer.
I'll answer it. Yeah, and Teresa was inside with me, went inside the Rising program with me, and it was just a great experience. You know, I think the most important lesson was to learn, that I learned, that I never would have learned if I'd been inside, was to trust these guys. You know, trust them. Love them and trust them and listen to them. And that's something that until I went inside, I don't think I would have had that level of trust without going inside. And, you know, as we really opened our homes up to our home up to these guys. And we had parties and dinner and a great time. And as was said back here, look, when we get to the point when we can open up our churches and not worry about who walks in the door.
Oh, yeah.
Not worry about it. We have 20 special churches because our ordinary churches will not accept people who are incarcerated. If they do, they have severe restrictions on them. The stigmatization is horrible. It's horrible. We gotta get past that. Just like everything else. We gotta get past in terms of our relationship with other people. So, yeah, I mean, this is something that I've learned, really, open my heart and open my mind and accept. And I mean, that's really the most important lesson.
Thank you, Jeff.
Hey, James, can I just say one thing? I promise I won't make it my own decision. I can answer that question from both sides. I am a returned citizen, and I'm a program coordinator in Cyprus. And the reason I did that was programs like Lifeline, programs like Horizon, programs like Chris Money's Highway Park, Heidi. God just pours something out on those type of programs because basically you're treated like a piece of dirt. You are. Yeah. And that was extremely hard for me to accept. I had been a professional. I was 45 when I went to prison. I served 5 years. I prayed constantly, and really, it was going to chapel. Every time that door opens, I went to chapel because it was safe and it fed my soul. And I went to any service. I would go to anything to get out of that door and be safe, you know. And so I think that's where I picked up like just a love of learning more about faith and about what I believed and what worked for me. And so then coming home as a returned citizen, I had this wonderful idea, incorrectly I might add, that my life was just going to pick up where it was and go on, and all my friends would be there, and I would be, no, it wasn't like that at all. The collateral damage and what it does to your self-esteem is just unbelievable. And so if I could stress one thing, if God, if your higher power, if your spiritual guide puts it on your heart that you need to change what's going on and how people are treated and how people are welcomed back into their communities. I mean, and I say this with all my heart, I did my time. I was punished, did every day. I was punished. And I'm trying to make a difference now in other people's lives. And trust and believe we hug, whether we're supposed to, in Horizon at ORW. And we tell those ladies how wonderful they are, how talented they are, and they are. And you can conquer the world, you can, but we have to stick together. And if you need something, if you're having a bad day, because most of the women at ORW have some type of substance use disorder issue, like 85%, if not more. I would say 99% have been traumatized. If you are having a bad day, call one of us. Call us. I don't care what time it is, call us and we'll talk. So, you know, if you learn anything today, I trust some of those ladies, and I definitely trust her. Most of them, more than most of the people that I know, or that I work with wonderful people, so I can't say that. But most of them are neighbors. So, you know, please ask us questions. If anybody's story here has touched your heart, go up and say, what else can I do? How can I help? I know it's all.
Hey, this is very passionate. I'm gonna take 1, 2, 3 more and 4 more, and then that's gonna be it. Because I mean, we could do this all day, and I would love to do it all day, but, you know. Yes, ma'am.
Is this like a microphone?
Yes, it is.
Oh, this is fancy. Okay, look, I'm a millennial and I don't know anything about technology. Okay, so we're all in this room because we are interested in helping or being an ally, but how do we get people that are not familiar with what's going on to become allies? How do we draw people into this and begin restoring the humanity of those who have been incarcerated?
Great question. I could do that all day, but I'm gonna pass it over to you, sir. How about that? He's an organizer, so this is the best way to do it. Oh, did you? Oh, okay. Does anybody want to, Brent? Okay. Did you see how she used her authority against me? Did you see that?
So I'll just reiterate kind of what I shared at the beginning, or when we were introducing ourselves, is the person-to-person connection. Because one of the things, if I answer Teresa's question, like what's one of the most important things you learn, and I think it's kind of mentioned, is I had no clue about what was going on inside in the prison system and the criminal justice system. No clue. Everything was just narratives on TV, you know. And so when Jeff said this will change your life, it wasn't just the blessings of friendships, which I have are just phenomenal, like this beautiful guy right here. It also widened my heart tremendously, opened my eyes a lot to, in ways that were just impossible before, without the experience. And so, I guess I can only share that Jeff kept drawing me in, engaged, drawing, engaged, drawing. And it's a bit of a slow process. It took him like at least 2 years, but he kept at it and just kept sharing his heart. I would recommend doing inside work to anyone. It is just tremendous. I can talk about it all day. And it's the testimony that he gave me, and also what I saw in his life, the reality of his heart and the expansion of his heart drew me in. So.
What you want me to do now? Oh, you just make.
My question is, if you right here, kids went in at 45, then 5 years came out of jail. My question is, before you went in, I'm pretty sure you had your own concept and own visual on what people go on in every time life. Now that you experienced it, went in, came out, your vision has changed, has it not? Or do you still look at people with that same vision that you had before?
Before I went in, I was, well, I was a lawyer and thought everybody who was in there deserved to be there.
That's the point that
I feel badly about that every day. I mean, I did. I thought, why are we even worrying about them? They knew, but, and unfortunately, that is how a lot of people still think. And what I try to tell people is 98% of everyone who's incarcerated is going home at some time. So would you rather have somebody like Carolyn live next to you? I mean, would you rather, you have a choice when you go into prison, as we know. You can either get bitter and hate everybody and nothing's fair and I'll get even and oh, woe is me, or you can get better. You can learn, you can absorb everything that anybody in there has to teach you that's correct. We know what you can learn back, but sign up for programs, really take that time to work on yourself and you'll come out better. And maybe I have a chip on my shoulder, I guess. It's either that or it's, I'm a Methodist, but I swear I'm doing penance, I'm trying to make up for all that awful I did. But yeah, it really changes when you see that everybody has a story and they grew up just like me and they aren't, most of them are brighter than me. I just was privileged enough to, have a lot of good breaks until I didn't. So,
Yeah, the reason why I asked that is because when you look around the world, you wouldn't guess that half these people in here have a lot of.
No.
Never.
And you shouldn't be able to.
Exactly, and that's why I asked, do you still have that same kind of vision that you had before you went in? Because I know a lot of people think like, oh, 5 years, that's something. Because that's 5 years times 365 that you will never get back.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Even a few hours, that's time that you cannot get back.
Yeah, you can't. And
So,
you can't
like I
go
said,
back
I
to your
just want to
family.
know if you still had that same vision that you had before you came in, did it change your perspective once you knew that you came out?
I agree. I just want to comment on that for a minute. I went in when I was 35 and I got out when I was 51. And my children were 7 and 11 when I left them. They're now 24 and 28. So I missed their entire life. But when I first got in there, and I kind of thought the same way Mary did, you know what, these people did whatever they did, let them be in prison, they deserve to go. And when I remember riding in there in that van and all the way through the prison, I mean, they just, at that point in time, they just didn't stop at the front like they do now. We rode all the way through the prison to the back. And I was thinking, all right, girl, you gotta tough it up right now, or, this is how you gotta be super hardcore. You can't let your guard down, you can't do anything. If I gotta fight, I gotta fight. That's what it was gonna be. So I had that mentality about me. For the first 2 years I was there, that's what I did. I was locked down 23 out of 24, 7 days a week. Okay. After that, I finally dealt with what I had to deal with. And I'm like, okay, like you said, let's start getting these programs. Let me start getting in these groups. And I did that to the fullest. I did every single program, every group up there. I got one of the premier jobs up there on that prison. I had that job for many, many years. Like I said, I created 27 different programs up there, and I taught them through the mental health department. I taught them through the military program up there. I taught them through Horizon up there. And at that point in time, that's when, that's where you better yourself. You see these women up there, and gentlemen, you see these men up there. And granted, some people do deserve to be there for some things they've done. Time-wise, maybe they don't deserve that time. But not everyone deserves to be up there. You're in the wrong place at the wrong time. You get a woman that's been beat down so many times and she's just defending herself if something goes wrong. You have truly got to relate with people.
So not everyone deserves to be in there. Not everyone deserves to be judged like they have been and how they're going to be when we walk out of here. I feel like I have a target when we somewhere and everyone knows that I've just done time. It's very hard for me. You know, back in before I went, I did a lot of people wrong, and I'm really waiting for them people. I'm really waiting to see them now. You know, and I'm making my amends the best I can. So that's, from there on, we've really got to go back in and work with them. You know, your self-esteem goes so low in prison, on top of COs and staff degrading you even more so. You know, so that's where I truly believe these volunteers and stuff need to go back in. I'm going back in as soon as I can. You know, people say, you just got out of prison, you want to go back in? I sure do. I do. So I hope that helps.
Two more and we're done. 1 and 2. Oh, I thought you had your hand up for her. Okay. Everybody good? Okay. Okay. No, what I mean is everybody good that we're okay to keep going. Okay,
I'm Tony Holmes, and I want to recap on this Ohio and Vegas. So, to strengthen numbers is to rave about it. Not only just us as the experienced ones that been locked up, the friends who never have been, the family, the gossip. We gossip about everything else, but we don't gossip about what's going on behind the doors. Who made it and what they're doing. You know, we don't gossip about that. We gossip about everything else. So that's how we strengthen numbers. That's how we engage everybody else to come in and figure out what's going on inside. How those people feel. How can we help them return into society? How can we change their mindsets after they've been stripped from it? Vegas. She sat next to me, she greeted me since I came here. And she did say, we need something like that for women. Guess what? And you know what I said to her? What did I say to you, Vegas?
We're doing it. Let's do it.
You know we're doing it. I'm working on it right now. I have been working on it. I want teams. I would love, I believe strength. I believe it is strength in numbers. Yeah. You know, I don't want to do it by myself. I don't believe in doing it by myself because we all see where that can lead you when you feel like you by yourself. Okay? I feel like it's a unity. So that is my passion. Everybody looking at, yes, I'm Tony Holmes, the realtor. Absolutely. But this means way more to you. I didn't give up. Okay. That's right. I got told no for years that I cannot, I will not, because of I was 18. You know, it was never forgiving. And guess what? Reality check. Society isn't forgiving still. Okay? But we can change that by the support of each other. That's how we do that. So Tony Holmes, the realtor, is just not the realtor. Tony Holmes, this is a platform for my women in prison. Amen. Things that got to manifest first for them. Because guess what? No one on this earth is perfect. They wouldn't, and they not. It's like you all who never did. But we can try to. That's all. That's it. Thank you.
Now, program coordinator, Montgomery County Officer of Entry, also adjunct instructor for Sinclair at Dayton Correctional Institution. Is a colleague of mine. To answer a couple of questions. Number one, how do we engage folks? We have to continue to have more workshops and seminars and information sessions on re-entry 101. You have to understand just from a basic concept who a returning citizen is. And basically, a returning citizen is someone that's a human being. We gotta see it from that perspective first. Because if you don't see that individual returning back to the community as a member of society and a human being first, and you be humane, then none of the other stuff is not gonna work. That's very important. The gentleman asked the lady a question about, did your perspective change after being there for 5 years? Well, I had a shorter period of time in prison. And let me tell you, yes, the answer was a rhetorical question. The answer is yes, it does change. It changes probably for maybe 90% of those that go into prison. You're going to change. It does something to you.
Yes.
It does something to you. It really does. Someone's asking about coming back to the community, what you've done. I don't know, but my colleague, Mr. Titus, and I, we talk about this a lot, that when we came back home, that was many, many years ago, there were no reentry programs.
Right.
And so we had to depend on the fellowship, each other, fellowship, recovery, 12-step. We had to depend on God and church and brothers in church that were helping me along. So it was tough. We have to begin to also erase the stigmas and stereotypes of who we think a returning citizen is and what they look like. No, it's just not just the brother with his pants sagging with his hat cocked to the side.
That's right.
That we gotta, that's no. They come in all ages, colors,
Yes, sir.
shapes,
Yep.
sizes,
Yes, sir.
social economic
Yes.
backgrounds, and educational backgrounds.
Yes.
And we have to know that. I'm gonna leave with this. A few months ago, I did a presentation for MLK Day at a church, and they put me behind a church thing up there, podium up there. I'm not a preacher, okay? But and this is a spiritual program here today. We're talking, this is about God. And last I checked, when I was going to Sunday school, and I was kind of paying attention as a little boy, on Friday, when God was crucified, ironically, he was crucified between two criminals.
Right.
Imagine that. And one of them gave the foxhole prayer. Hey, you who you say you are, get me down out there, man. Look us up. But the other one knew who he was.
Right.
He knew who God was.
Yeah.
He knew who God was. And so now, having said that, God forgave them right there and there. And we as citizens, we have to learn how to forgive those coming back to the community as well. Exactly what you say there about.
Amen. Amen.
Well, are there any kind of programs for federal inmates?
Yeah.
Okay, because while I was in, there was no programs. Nobody came to talk to us about anything, about returning home, what to do. By the grace of God, I had a good support staff. And that's how I made it. And just praying. To you guys up there, I've been home now 17 years. Just keep going, man. The lady on the end said she got 2 promotions. The job I got 2 promotions as well. Being a convicted felon. So just keep grinding. Take a day, one day at a time.
Amen.
That's all I got.
I'm a mother, and I would say, keep dying in your life.
Yes.
Always.
As I listen to the folks around the room, the people who have made changes, significant positive changes for the needs of our society. And I've been hearing the people who have had firsthand experience on the other side. And by God's
Amen.
grace, and due to some improvements in our society, wonderful people have helped them to heal and become part of the community. I've been reading in the last year in the newspaper much to my horror and shock, that the United States of America has more prisons and more prisoners, has the highest percentage of incarceration of any nation in the world. I cannot for 1 second believe that Americans are more criminally inclined than any other nation.
It's an investment. It's an investment.
My late husband and I have been citizens in Dayton since 1967. I would not want for 1 second to live anywhere else. I'm a native of Cincinnati. And the reason I love Dayton, and so did my love, this city is creative.
Yes, yes, it is.
We have this as a heritage. And during this pandemic and before, we have exhibited that creativity significantly.
Yeah.
Well, the people gathered in this room today, by God's grace, know both sides of the prison story. What are we waiting for? To educate our fellow Americans. We need to initiate a reformation in our society. If you have no interest except for money, let's investigate what our criminal justice, quote unquote, system costs. That alone can make a phenomenal reversal financially in our country and morally.
He said a mouthful getting $2,000 worth.
Real quick, I just wanted to answer your question, how we can do this. You are at the perfect position right now. Right, that's what I'm saying. It is like educating people like you who have the platform to go out there and do that. And everyone, like, I bet you a lot of people who are sitting in here never understood what was going on until you come to seminars. It's like Quinn said, we need to have more workshops. We have to change the narrative out there. I have a podcast that I put people like myself and other people who come out and change their lives on there so that we can change the narrative. We have to create our own narrative. If we leave it up to society, we're going to get just like what these two ladies thought before they went in. These criminals we don't know the stories behind the people. Nobody woke up one morning and said, I'm just going to become a criminal. There's some trauma that's behind all of that. And the next thing to do is you start at the beginning, man. We have to start at the beginning, stop this preschool to prison pipeline that's going on here. Stop acting like we don't see it happen. Crime does not just affect one person. It affects the whole family. When I went to prison, my mother did the whole time with me. My kids did the time with me. You know what I'm saying? People in the community who looked up to me and everything, they did the time with me. And every one of us, you know what I'm saying? Like, I hate to say it, a lot of people had that same attitude, like, oh man, they deserve it, until it's one of their children. Until it's them. So you have a perfect platform, use it, please.
I want to thank everyone for sharing and giving. This is beyond what I imagined. Because we can only imagine until it becomes real. This is reality right here. And I was glad that my church allowed me the opportunity. So before I go, I have some things I need to say before I let you guys go. And make sure that you meet one another.
share each other's information. That's the part of the reason that I had everybody come here. And we gonna do something like this again. I need to let you guys know that the elevator is not operating. So you can just jump on my shoulders and I carry you upstairs. It's not operating very well. Suggest you leave to the outside doors or at the end of the hallway. So some of you can go out this door and turn right, and it'll take you straight outside to the, and then you can go right or left. I want to say thank you to all that joined on the Zoom, and thank to them guys back there behind the screen, Jim Vance, Frank Hollingworth, as our tech for getting everything up and going. I want to say thank you to Alice Diebel, who's not here. She's traveling. We have information for her. Carolyn has it right there. It's the Circle of the Spirit. She works with women who have been incarcerated as well. I want to thank the new ministry experience task team. Where you at, Don? And this guy stand up so they can see you. Roberta, she already done. And Cole, to help me plan this and perform this. There are trash cans up here now, and you can either drop it off on your way out or in. But I just want to say to a couple more things before I go. And one of my friends is here, and it doesn't matter to her. She's one of the dopest Muslim women I've ever met. And yeah, I'm putting you on the spot because she sees God in everybody and everything. And we learned at Horizon that everybody has a path to God. And even if you don't believe in God, you believe in love, you believe in something. Judy has been a good friend to me. And I would not walk out of here without saying, I love you. And for you, come on, yes, say something. In front of all these awesome Christians.
Amen, amen, amen.
We would have a group called Coffee Connections. And I wanted to find somebody that could speak on a higher level of things. And they would come up with some amazing topics. And that's how I met them. Just sitting around, Muslims, Buddhists, blacks, whites, it didn't matter. We were speaking on a level much higher than this meat suit we wear. And even though all of this is about reentry and restoration, I do not want to ever forget that there are victims out there, that the victims are hurting too, and that we would never overlook those victims or our victims or someone else's victims. Because when you touch a returning citizen's life, you're touching them, their families, their victims, and their communities. So I want you to have a broad perspective of what we're doing. It's not just about rah-rah for the returning citizen and forget about, I like how Mr. Drake said, you know, even though we did a bad thing, we had to look at that thing, and sometimes you gotta look at what you took from somebody until you respect it and understand it. So I love every one of you, all the awesome panel members, give them a hand. I want to give our honor to all the H.O.P.E people. Yes, sir.
So give it up for James Dow Testing. Play everybody.
Hey!
I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan. But I want to say one more thing. There's a lot of people who have helped me get where I am. And like I said, when I spoke last week at Westwood United Methodist Church, I wouldn't be here without Jeff's and Brent's and Heidi's and Quinn's. Quinn is my guy. Quinn is my guy. The moment I walked out of prison, he picked up where Dr. Boone left off. And Dr. Boone could not be here because his mother is sick, so we're going to say prayers for her. He's up in Michigan, and I want to make sure that I brought that out because Pastor Richard Boone is a legend inside that prison. And he never asked for any type of accolades. Look at me, never. But he got this guy right here in his office in many days getting me right. But since I've been home, it's been Quinn, and then Quinn passed me off to Miss Amelia Boomershot. Here, Amelia. Here. She thought she was done. We smacked her at the service, but I'm gonna smack her again. I have a plaque for Amelia. This is the first picture we took. Met outside the gate, upstairs. And I said, my ally and my friend, Amelia Boomershine, thank you for walking with me. I was in prison and you visited me. Matthew 25, and your faith has carried me to Jesus. Mark 2, 1 through 12. I love you.
Amen.
I have one thing to say. You just never know where biblical storytelling is going to take you.
Thank you, we love you. Did you get that picture? Because we're going to use that for next year's plaque. I thank every one of you for being here. And I'm just going to pray us out if that's okay with you. God of all, God of peace, God of love, thank you for allowing us this opportunity. Thank you for choosing me and using me to make a difference. Thank you for all the men and women who poured into my life over all of those years. It's been almost 15, 20 years now. Thank you for the men and women who are going inside. Thank you for the men and women who are waiting on the outside. Thank you for the men and women who are writing letters. Thank you for the people who are donating the battle-tested bags. Thank you for Welcome Home for Life Network, Horizon Program, X Factor. God, I can just go on and all of these wonderful programs in Sinclair. Thank you for the teachers and the instructors and the Montgomery County Office of Reentry. Everyone, let us get together, God. Teach us how to do this. Teach us how to hear what you hear. Teach us how to see what you see. Teach us how to know what you know and then apply it. God, help us change the world. Let us change the system until it turns into the kingdom of God. Lord, thank you for all that you've done and all that you're going to do. In Jesus' name, amen and amen. You're dismissed. Thank you.